We've got a really, really awesome webinar today. I'm really excited for this one. My name's Ben. I'm on the marketing team here at Hostaway. Been with Hostaway for about 2 years now, and I will be your host for today. We've got Julia from Airbnb who is going to be driving the ship, and we've got Marcus and Maria who will be chiming in every once in a while, as well as answering your questions in the Q&A. So we are Hostaway. We are the biggest short-term rental PMS channel manager in the world. As you can see from this slide here, we've got clients and we've got employees from all over the world. I know my colleagues and I always talk about one of the absolute best parts about working at Hostaway is that we get to connect with people, like I said, from all over the world and clients as well. So we're growing. We're only ever getting bigger and expanding into more geographies and more geos, more cities. So we're happy to have you along with us for the webinar. We'll go to the next slide and just a couple of exciting things we've got going here. So you may have noticed on the last slide, our 10-year anniversary badge. So we are celebrating 10 years of Hostaway this year, which is just an incredible milestone, kind of no matter where you're from. But the fact that this is 10 years in a B2B SaaS tech company is really outstanding, real testament to the work that the team has done and continues to do. So we're super excited about that. If you head over to our blog, and I'll drop the link in the chat in a little bit, but we actually have a 10 milestones for 10 years of Hostaway article. So if you want to kind of take a little trip down memory lane with us, that's a fun one to skim through. Also, I alluded to Awesome Texas before. That's because we are taking Hostchella, our user conference, the biggest user conference in the short-term rental space, to Austin, Texas. That's going to be November 6th and 7th. You can get tickets now. I will also drop that link in the chat. And we hope to see you there. It was such a blast last time and last year, and we're going to do it all again and make it even better this year. And then the last thing I plug, I swear, is the Hostaway webinar series, the podcast. So we upload all of our webinars to YouTube for you to watch. But if you're like me and you're more of like an audio guy, you like to listen to podcasts while you clean or while you walk, we upload it to Spotify as well. So you can find all our old podcasts on Spotify at the Hostaway webinar series podcast. So that's it for the shameless plugs on my end. Like I said, we've got Julia from Airbnb here. Julia's about to run a masterclass on what you need to be successful as a short-term rental property manager. It really is, the important things, the attention to detail, the things that even some of them you might know, but it's always good to get a refresher on. And Julia, as I mentioned to you beforehand in the green room, like we're always so happy when you're here to do these webinars. So we really appreciate your time. And without further ado, I'll kick it over to you.
Oh, thanks so much, Ben. So happy to be here with Hostaway. It's a privilege. So thanks for having me. All right. For the fun stuff, I do just need to say that any forward-looking statements speak only as of the date of this presentation. Any forward-looking statements are based on information and estimates that Airbnb had at the time of the presentation and are not guarantees of future performance. And Airbnb expressly disclaims any obligation to update or revise any information contained in this presentation except as required by law. All right, so now let's get into it. Some tips for success on Airbnb. Ben already introduced me. My name's Julia. So happy to be here with you guys today. I've been with Airbnb since 2014, so I've been around for a while and happy to share what I know. All right, so we're going to cover quality on Airbnb. We're going to talk about leveling up your quality. So cleanliness and value will be two of the subcategories we focus in on. A couple booking settings to improve listing appeal, and then some promotions to help drive bookings. So starting with quality, which is where we'll spend the bulk of today. Why is quality so important? But before we go into that, I want to kick it over to Marcus to talk about this property.
All right. So hi everyone. This is a great property that we wanted to highlight here together with Airbnb. Maybe we can share the link to it also in the chat so you can all have a look. What's really interesting about this one is that sometimes you see these listings that are just extravagant. Maybe they have a slide to get from the second floor to the first one, or they have other strange things. But this one is actually performing extremely well without having anything let's say ridiculous in it. And there's a couple of things here that really stand out when you look at the listing. First of all, they're addressing the seasonality, which means that they update the listing. And that sends a message to the guest that if they're updating the listing on Airbnb, they're probably making sure the home is okay as well. So they're addressing right there. It's winter in New Zealand right now. It can be cold, but this home is very warm. They also mention some very compelling sales arguments right in the title here that you see on the slide. The king bed, free parking, and quiet. Sometimes when looking at Airbnb, especially if there's a lot of supply available, it can get very tricky to choose which properties to even look at. And sometimes all you need is just a couple of sales arguments rather than having titles. Actually, if you go and do a search in your area on Airbnb, just look at the titles and pick out 3 words. I guarantee you that you'll find very similar words in a lot of listings. And the way you can stand out is by having different words. And finally, when you look at this listing, look at all the photos. Look at how they're all from exactly the right angle, and they all have great lighting. So that's a key takeaway here. You don't need a very special home with a lot of gadgets to make a top seller on Airbnb. No, you can do it with these simple tricks.
Thanks, Marcus. Yeah, a lot of good tips there. So why is quality so important? You want to think of quality as a key driver of success on Airbnb. It's really a positive cycle that impacts multiple aspects of hosting. A high quality listing attracts more travelers and enhances your reputation, opening the door to new opportunities. Additionally, quality can help improve conversion rates by reassuring travelers through positive reviews and a strong presentation. It saves time as well by reducing complaints and streamlining your daily management. The Airbnb algorithm also considers many factors to determine how to order search results, but some of the factors have a larger impact than others. In particular, popularity, price, location, and the quality of a listing heavily influence how a listing appears in search results. So high quality listings may get better visibility in the algorithm and then also increase your booking potential. Investing in quality optimizes both your earnings and efficiency. It's really a continuous loop of success. And since you're here, you already recognize the importance. Higher ratings and reviews can lead to more bookings and higher earnings. Listings with an average of 80% 5-star reviews received 69% of total bookings on Airbnb globally in the last year. Consistently delivering high quality stays can have a truly meaningful impact on your business. And our Superhost program, which is in its 10th year, continues to reward our top performing hosts. Um, Last year, our Superhost community grew by almost 15% to over 1.3 million hosts, and that's the highest in the history of the program. So, a lot of Superhosts out there really performing at a high level. Overall quality looks at the guest overall experience of a stay, but quality isn't simply determined by a listing's overall quality rating. It's important, but there are many other factors that contribute to the quality of a guest stay, including cleanliness, ease of check-in, accuracy, host cancellations, and community support issues. When it comes to accuracy, it's important that listings are accurately represented, that guests are going to expect that your photos, amenities, and descriptions match your actual spaces. And then check-in, you want check-in and check-out to be the important moments that they are. They can really make or break a 5-star stay. Guests expect to get inside, to feel like at home and welcome easily, and then to also leave effortlessly. Cleaning thoroughly between guests is an essential part of 5-star hosting. You know this, but one of the most common reasons that guests give fewer than 5 stars is a lack of cleanliness. So it's a major pain point for guests. And then communicating effectively with guests can help them turn a good stay into a great one. And then when it comes to location, you don't have control over where your property is, but it's helpful if guests are made aware of safety, transportation, points of interest, special considerations like noise or other situations that could affect their stay. And then guests think about the value of your listings by comparing the quality of the stay and the price they paid for it. So ratings for these subcategories aren't the only measure of a 5-star stay, but getting them all right is really the key to success on the platform. Then, in addition to 5-star reviews, Airbnb has our guest favorite highlight, which shows potential guests how eligible listings compare to other listings around the world. So, listings that are guest favorites feature a badge in search results and on the listing page. There's also a filter that allows travelers to specifically search for guest favorites. Since this new feature launched, I think I've almost exclusively used that filter for all the bookings I've made in the last year. These highlights are based on ratings, reviews, and reliability of the listing, and they're designed to really help guests feel more confident when they're, going through the booking process. So during the second half of 2024, guest favorite listings accounted for 20% of all listings on Airbnb. That's a pretty big number, and aspirational, and something that I think a lot of hosts here probably have the badge for on a couple of their listings and would like to see it on at least a few more. The average occupancy and conversion rates of listings with guest favorite highlight globally were significantly higher compared to listings without that highlight. As of November of 2024, guest favorite listings saw over 200 million nights booked since the feature launched in May of 2024. So these are listings that are, clearly being preferred by guests. So let's talk about some of the key strengths of these guest favorite listings, which tend to excel in the following areas. So they've got their cleanliness dialed in. They are, representing a listing on Airbnb that feels accurately reflected to the guests when they get there. Um, Guests feel that they're getting good value for their money. There are fewer host cancellations and fewer quality related CS issues generated during their trips. So today we're going to focus on two of the components of quality that make the biggest difference for listings performing in the top 10% of homes. We'll dive into those guest expectations and we'll highlight actions that you can take to help improve your listing quality in these areas. So we'll start with cleanliness. As part of the review process, guests answer the question, how clean was this host space? You may find that getting a one-off low rating in cleanliness is honestly confusing. It could be hard to know what guests have in mind when it comes to cleanliness. So we want to share some internal Airbnb data that sheds some light on the topic. I've already said this, but one of the most common reasons that guests give hosts fewer than 5 stars is a lack of cleanliness. When we look at the cleanliness reviews and Airbnb support tickets, we see that the rooms guests tend to focus on are probably no surprise to you, but the kitchen, the bedroom, and the bathroom. These are the spaces that make an impression when it comes to cleanliness.
Maybe
And as
maybe I
far
could
as
just add the thing, one thing here about these reviews. Keep in mind that when the guest is leaving a review, it's based on their overall expectations versus reality. So it's not necessarily that let's say they leave you a 4-star review on cleanliness. It doesn't mean that your place was dirty. What it could mean instead is, let's say there's ants in the kitchen, and that can happen anywhere, right? You have a home, it's been perfect for 10 years, and then one day there's 15 ants in the kitchen. And that's completely okay. The guests will accept that. However, maybe the response that the guest gets when they send a message isn't the one they were expecting. Another thing to keep in mind is also how much did the guest pay for their stay. I no longer leave well, when I stay in a lot of Airbnbs, and I only leave 5-star or no review whatsoever. But I can tell you one example of expectations versus reality. Just a few weeks ago, I went to Scotland, to a very far away island called Isla, and the only place that was available was a cottage that cost £1,000 a night. And when we entered, I did my first check that I always do, which is, where's the coffee maker? Because I don't want to wake up and not have coffee. And I saw a nice little sign that says, down the street, you'll find a store. There you can buy the capsules for the Nespresso machine. And I thought, for £1,000, those capsules must be really expensive on this island. But no, it turns out they were just the same prices on the mainland, which to me, at least, is a reason why I won't leave a review to that property, because I think for £1,000 a night, you should get at least one capsule so that you can get the energy to go to the store. Sorry for interrupting.
No, I totally appreciate it, Marcus. It's true. Having that first cup of coffee on your first morning at least seems reasonable to me. Um, Yeah, so we have some screenshots here of what the guest, the process the guest goes through when they're leaving a review for your cleanliness. Um, and we also prompt them to give us some feedback as well. Whether they're leaving a 4-star, a 3-star, 1-star, or 5-star, we want to know what was it about this listing that really stood out or made it not such a great experience. And then I have here the top 5 issues that are reported regarding cleanliness on Airbnb. So it's a dirty or dusty listing, it's stains, it's a dirty bathroom, it's that the listing seems to need maintenance. Maybe you've had the listing for a while and there's been some wear and tear on it, and you haven't updated the photos online. These are some things to think about. And then noticeable smell. Those are the top 5 reported cleanliness issues. So just important to keep that, file it in your brain, so that you can think about that as you're evolving your cleaning strategy over time. And then last up, regarding quality, we're going to talk about value. This is a sensitive topic because cleanliness, obviously, or value is, your pricing strategy. It relates, it ladders back up to that. So let's talk a little bit about, oops, um, how guest expectations impact value. So, when guests know exactly what to expect, they feel that what they paid matches what they received. So, if your listing sets clear expectations, guests are less likely to feel that they overpaid, leading to higher value ratings. So, this really helps to align the perceived value with the actual experience. When descriptions and photos accurately reflect the property, guests are going to be less likely to feel shortchanged. So even if your space isn't a luxury or aspirational treehouse property, clear expectations help guests to feel that the price is fair for what they received. So getting those coffee pods in the morning is a good example, and that can positively impact their value score. Um, if a guest understands why your rate is set at a certain level, such as through transparent listings and clear communication, they're more likely to feel that the price reflects the quality and services offered. So, a listing that explains higher pricing due to premium linens, a stocked kitchen, a prime location, that will help to lead to a better value rating than one that simply charges a high fee without explanation. And that's a way to manage expectations for pricing. And then unexpected issues like noise, lack of parking, missing amenities, those can also drastically lower value ratings. So being upfront about those factors helps guests to feel that they made an informed decision, even if the price is slightly higher. So if guests know that there might be some street noise, but they are provided with earplugs, they'll feel cared for and the price they paid still offers a good value. And that helps to prevent surprises that hurt value ratings. And then
There's a
lastly,
sorry.
oh, go for it.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to say there's one thing that's really missing from this list, and that is who is the guest? Because the value perceived compared to the what's advertised in the listing, that is very individual. And what the best property managers and hosts are able to do is they're able to tailor their content to attract a certain type of guests. So, for example, street noise will probably be a problem if you got your mother-in-law coming over visiting for a week. That's a problem for her. But if you got a young couple who's traveling around the world, that's probably not going to be a problem because your street noise is a lot less than the last place they stayed in. And by fine tuning your listing to find out which type of guest you attract, that's how you can really provide better value. But yeah, that's maybe taking it one step further. That's a bit advanced.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Marcus. And then just to wrap it up, guests who feel that their expectations were met or exceeded, really highlight that in their reviews. They mention that it was exactly as described, that they got a great value for the price. And that can also help to attract future bookings, and reinforce your property's perceived value, kind of helping you keep that cycle of positive quality moving forward. So we have some insights onto what guests are looking for when rating value. They're looking for fair pricing for what they receive. Guests want the price to align with the quality, amenities, and overall experience provided. They want amenities and comfort that enhance their stay. They want thoughtful extras like quality linens, toiletries, well-stocked essentials that, make a big difference. And then a seamless and stress-free experience. From a smooth check-in to clear communications, guests value an effortless stay without unexpected issues. And then common reasons for low value ratings, high pricing compared to the quality provided. Guests feel that the stay was too expensive for what was offered. A lack of essential amenities or comfort, so missing basics like coffee pods. And then a stressful or inconvenient experience. Poor communication, difficult check in process, or unexpected issues can also impact that perceived value. And then I think Maria is going to walk us through Hostaway's quality dashboard. So I'm going to kick it over to her.
Thank you, Julia, and hello, everyone. So this year we released our new host quality dashboard, right? The mission of this dashboard is to help you monitor and enhance the performance and quality of your properties in Airbnb and other channels. And this is particularly relevant because one problem alone may not have a big effect, but it's the combination of those problems together that can lead to your listing either being suspended, which in turn obviously leads to loss of revenue. So with this dashboard, we're seeing here a small animation of the dashboard as it looks today. What we want to give you is a complete vision, again, of in one place of what is good and bad with your portfolio. So to quickly highlight a few of the things that you will see on the dashboard, maybe it's a little bit small for people to see it there, but you'll be able to see obviously all of your portfolio, the quality statuses per listing in Airbnb, and then you will be able to see detailed information about what are the issues for those listings, for those that have issues, right? And average review scores as well. And you can use different filters to focus on particular areas as well, on particular problems, and act upon them. Actually, we also have a notification in our notification settings that will alert you for a particular problem that you need to act upon on Airbnb directly. These dashboards, what you're seeing here is the listings quality dashboard, but there is also a review quality tab that digs a little bit deeper on how you're performing from the point of view of your guests. So as Julia just mentioned, it provides categorized review metrics for what Julia just mentioned. So it's cleanliness and value, but also all of the categories that Airbnb has on their reviews. I think I mentioned insights to automate things further. I think this is very exciting for me to do this now. And to make things a lot easier and faster for you to understand what are the areas to improve. We have just recently released our AI reviews inside bot. So if you go to the next slides. So what you will see when you go to the reviews quality tab, it's just a button that says AI insights. We provide 3 prompts that you will be able to use to know exactly what are the areas that you and your team need to focus on, or what to do in order to increase your review rates and give the best experience. So how it works, it will basically go through all of your reviews and provide you with exact recommendation on what to improve. Just select one and watch it in a matter of seconds to provide a very detailed information of the areas that you need to improve, whether it's cleanliness, whether it's maintenance, whether it's accuracy, whether it's value, or maybe even I've seen some examples of like what Marcos just mentioned about ants, but also someone that was complaining about dining experience. So the customer has some extra experience on dining. So it really goes deep into all of those reviews insights that you've been collecting from Airbnb and other channels, and in a matter of seconds it tells you what you should work on, basically.
Awesome, Maria. That's super helpful. Ben, I think we're getting close to the 30-minute mark. Do we want to just skip ahead to Q&A or keep going?
Maybe we can about the sorry.
Hey, you go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about the cancellation policies and the impact that it has.
Yep, definitely. Move in there. Okay, yeah. So we have some information on both the flexible cancellation policy as well as the non-refundable cancellation policy. So you can improve your bookability with more flexible policies. Choosing a cancellation policy is really a balancing act. You want to avoid cancellations while still attracting guests, and today's guests want more flexibility as they plan their upcoming travels. But because every host has different needs, we have several cancellation policies for you to choose from. But the flexible and moderate cancellation policies are two of the most appealing policies for potential guests. But then we also have our non-refundable cancellation policy as well, which offers a discounted rate in exchange for um, a booking guarantee. So the guest isn't going to cancel, or if they do, it's non-refundable. So, a couple options to choose from. And I think there's a screenshot in here further on in the presentation that shows you how to enable that in Hostaway. So I'll skip to that. Uh, so I think it looks like you choose your cancellation policy. Maria, do you want to speak to
Yes.
how yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is actually in the listings. It's very simple. This is a tab called channel specific, and you go there and select the specific listing, specific cancellation policy that you want per property, and then you can, if you have similar properties with similar characteristics, you can copy and bulk all these settings to the listings.
Yeah, just one thing here. Put in that non-refundable discount, because that way you can get the best of both worlds. You can offer flexibility at a higher price, but at the same time you can get your very strict cancellation policy enforced and actually reward the guest for that. So it's a win-win.
Well, thank you very much, Julia, Marcus, Maria. We're running up against the clock, but let's take a couple questions from the audience. Marcus, I want to know, so this is a question that has a bit of a host implication, but then also from an Airbnb, I guess, like algorithmic side. So let's start on the host side. The question is, how important is it to reply to reviews that guests are giving?
I would say it's the most important thing in the world. You should never let a review go unnoticed, because other guests will be looking at that. Well, to be fair, they can only look at that if they click into your listing and start looking at things. But I'd say this is a good insurance policy, especially since with Hostaway you can automate the whole process. It's a good insurance policy in case you ever get a bad review for any reason, because that way anyone who looks into the reviews, they will see your replies to them.
Amazing. Julia, I'll kick this one over to you. A different question. What do you recommend for new hosts is the question. And this is from Susan McNichol. What she is saying is that started with one listing, was planning on adding more later this year. Seems like beautiful pictures, got lots of amenities, but still not getting noticed. General advice that you could give to someone in that situation?
Sure. Yeah, I think there's a couple things. Yeah, great quality photos are super important. Pricing is going to be incredibly important as well, making sure that you're priced right. I think we also have a slide in here about the new listing promotion, which I believe you have the opportunity to enable through Hostaway fairly easily. This is a great way to get those first 3 bookings. Really getting your first 3 bookings and your first 3 reviews on Airbnb is incredibly critical to kind of the long-term success. So making sure that those offering a discount for those first couple of bookings can be a really helpful way to incentivize a guest who's like, oh, this person doesn't have reviews yet, but I'll give it a shot because it's, priced competitively. And then just making sure that those first 3 stays are, top notch, and getting reviews for those reservations. Is one helpful thing you can do. But pricing is going to be important. Making sure that your minimum length of stay is reasonable, especially for those first few reservations. As you get established on the platform, and maybe your listing becomes popular, you can up those restrictions. But as you're really kind of getting making your mark on the platform, the more flexibility you can offer with both booking settings and pricing are going to help you, because guests are kind of more willing to take that risk for a shorter stay, for more reasonable price. Things like that are all things that I recommend thinking about for new hosts. And then again, once you're established, and you want to make some changes to those settings, totally fine, and doable.
Awesome. Thank you. And one last question we'll take, also from Susan. How long can you take advantage of the new listing promotion for?
Yeah, you can take advantage of it until you have your first 3 bookings. So, it's if you have a listing that's been on the platform for a year and it only has one booking, you can enable the new listing promotion. It'll be there until you get that first 3 booking mark on the platform, and then it will disable itself. So a really great tool to use if you are struggling to get those first bookings.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, well, we're right up at time here. Marcus, if there's any, or Maria, if there's any last questions that you saw in the Q&A that you wanted to address, let's go ahead and do that now. Just a reminder to everyone, we will be sharing this recording on YouTube and we'll be sending it out to you. So don't worry about retaining everything all at once.
That's exactly the question I was going to answer.
For sure. Yeah, so much good stuff here. And also make sure to check out the Hostaway blog in the coming weeks. We always do a summary, sort of the key takeaways of these webinars. So if you want to get a more of a bite-sized version of it, make sure to check out the blog in the coming week because we'll have it there. Julia, thanks again. I said it off the top. Like, these are some of our favorite webinars. Really appreciate the time you put in and the time you devote to helping us out. So appreciate it,
Yeah.
Marcus, Maria. Also, always showing up and giving the goods. So thanks to everyone. Appreciate the questions. Sorry we didn't get a chance to get to all of them. But we'll see you again next week. And for now, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Thanks a lot. Bye.